There's a horse in my pocket. There is a rabbit in the moon. I'm eating stars for breakfast. A flower is my spoon. Last night I rode upon a story across the Milky Way. Her forelegs were dappled sunrise. Her eyes were clear and gray. She said, the ordinary world is magic. The earth is bountiful. Keep your eyes and your heart open. Make your journey very full. Children, listen. This is your world. Tend it well. You are the queen and the king of your own fairy tale.
Quicksilver was sitting cross-legged on the ground in a small clearing. The clearing was like a little room, or a leafy cave, really, for it was bordered tightly by bushes and shaded from above by the cottonwood tree. Around him were 3 great piles of very thick books. Half the books were bound in red, and half were bound in yellow. In his lap was a thin book bound in purple. Jason recognized his own name written backwards on the cover. "I've been reading about you," said Quicksilver, glancing up as Jason crawled in beneath the bushes. "Frankly, I wish I'd done it sooner." He closed the book and took off the pair of wire-rimmed glasses he had been wearing. He watched thoughtfully as Jason settled himself on the ground. "How does the glove work?" he asked. "Great! Oh, just great!" replied Jason. "I caught 5 fly balls, and I forgot how many grounders." It's a success, then? Asked Quicksilver. Oh, yes, thank you, replied Jayson. Would you like to wish for a bat to go with it? Asked Quicksilver. I can do a magic bat that can hit any ball, any time, any place. Jayson's eyes lit up. He wanted very much to wish for just such a bat. No, said Jayson regretfully. Would you like to wish for a brand new bike, then? Asked Quicksilver. A 10-speed, perhaps. Jayson couldn't help glancing over his shoulder to where his battered old 3-speed bike rested behind the bushes. No, he said. Well, said Quicksilver impatiently, what do you wish for? I was hoping, began Jayson. I was hoping, that is, if you don't mind, if it's not too much trouble. Out with it, said Quicksilver. Jayson took a deep breath. I wish that everybody in the whole world was rich. I don't mean super rich. I just mean rich enough to have enough food and clothes and a chance to go see a ball game once a week, or whatever they do where they live. That's wish number 1, but don't do anything yet, because wish number 2 goes along with it. I see, said Quicksilver sternly. And what is wish number 2? No more fighting, said Jayson. He said it in a very sensible, very practical voice. Wish number 2 is no more fighting, especially wars, but also the small, mean type. I wish that. And? Asked Quicksilver. And what? Asked Jayson. Wish number 3, asked Quicksilver. Well, I'd like to see how the first 2 work before I try the third one, explained Jayson. Quicksilver nodded. He looked very stern. He sat looking stern for quite a long time. The longer he sat, the sterner he looked. Jayson was about to speak when Quicksilver lowered his head and set both hands to his temples. Suddenly Jayson heard it. It was the sound again. It echoed all around him and raced through him the way the wind races hollowly through a long, long pipe lying at the side of a deserted road. The sound went on for a long time. When it stopped, Quicksilver looked sterner than ever. He looked so stern that Jayson was quite afraid to talk to him. Suddenly Jayson heard a shriek of outrage. He turned his head just in time to see Mel Flynn finish kicking the spokes out of some smaller kid's bike and run off hooting with laughter. The same thing had happened to Jayson 2 weeks before. I don't think it worked, said Jayson. I didn't think it would, said Quicksilver unhappily. Too big? Asked Jayson. Not exactly, he said. It simply, as you said, didn't work. The kind that generally don't work are the kind that interfere in other people's lives too much. That, most certainly, is what did us in. But a wish is a wish, and a deal is a deal, protested Jayson. Arguing won't change things, interrupted Quicksilver. I can grant wishes for you, Jayson Arthur Reed. The rest of the world is going to have to do things the hard way. Then all you can really grant is greedy, little, self-centered wishes, said Jayson with considerable disappointment. That's all you're expected to wish for in the first place, said Quicksilver crossly. Look, haven't you been paying attention to all the stories about us? You're supposed to wish for greedy, selfish things, and then you're expected to mess up because you're so greedy and selfish, and in the end you're supposed to have learned a lesson, and that's that. You know, I really did try, said Quicksilver. That's more than most would do. I wanted to at least try because those are the wishes I'd have liked best to pull off if I could. Really? Asked Jayson. Really, Quicksilver replied. He cleared his throat and brushed a leaf off the lapel of his coat. And besides, you've still got one last wish. What will it be? How about the bike? One last wish, said Jayson. But you couldn't do the first 2, so I should get them over again. Oh, no, said Quicksilver. Now, quick, your third wish. You can't take all day. Quick, 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 quick. Jayson pulled his hat down low over his eyes. I wish for 3 more wishes, he said. You rotten little stinker, said Quicksilver. The pile of red books disappeared with a poof. The pile of yellow books disappeared with a poof. Quicksilver turned 3 times and disappeared with a poof. Jayson climbed out of the bushes, jumped on this bicycle, and rode home.
Walking to freedom, no one can stop us. Bullets and chains have tried to detain us. We will be waiting, can we be patient? We are the children and our children will grow up too.
This is our journey. There is such a long distance to travel while searching for dreams. We'll work through our troubles, finding our way back home.
Walking to freedom, no one can stop us. Bullets and chains have tried to detain us. We will be waiting, can we be patient? We are the children and our children will grow up too.
This is our home. Our land and pride was taken away. We were made slaves, now we want our freedom. We are on our way home.
Walking to freedom, no one can stop us. Bullets and chains have tried to detain us. We will be waiting, can we be patient? We are the children and our children will grow up too.
Adjo, 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 adjo mi re, adjo mi re. Kini luwayo, kini luwayo. Adjo, 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 adjo mi re, adjo mi re. Kini luwayo, kini luwayo. Adjo, 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 adjo mi re, adjo mi re. Kini luwayo, kini luwayo. Adjo, 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 adjo. We will rejoice. Our tears and laughter are with us today. No one will knock out that spirit inside of us. Brothers and sisters, say.
Walking to freedom, no one can stop us. Bullets and chains have tried to detain us. We will be waiting, can we be patient? We are the children and our children will grow up too. Walking to freedom, no one can stop us. Bullets and chains have tried to detain us. We will be waiting, can we be patient? We are the children and our children will grow up too.
For me, some of the richest music comes from the poorest people. I was in Haiti once. That's a country in the Caribbean. It's one of the most impoverished countries in the world. One night, I went to a religious ceremony where I heard some of the most exciting drumming that I'd ever heard. Later, I asked a man whose name was Alphonse, who worked at the hotel where I was staying, if he could get me a drum like one of the ones I'd seen. He told me that he could. And a few days later, he told me to come to his home. When I arrived there, I found this beautiful drum. He had made it himself. He'd carved it, and his son, Joseph, had painted it with shoe polish, orange and black. He explained that the drum was an African drum, because this is what the people had brought with them when they had been brought to Haiti as slaves. He told me to practice so that he could hear me play it later that night when he came to work. I put it over my shoulder and I walked back to the hotel. And on the way I passed a group of children who were playing in the street. They started following me, laughing and calling out to more of their friends. I guess they found it funny seeing this tourist carrying a Haitian drum on his shoulder. So I stopped, put down the drum and began to play it. They seemed a little surprised at first that I could play it at all. But after a while they were dancing and they even started singing. They invited me to go back to their school with them, which I did, and they ended up inviting me into their class, and I played with them. While I was there, I was able to make this recording of them. That night it was hot. I couldn't sleep because I really wanted to play my new drum. So I picked it up and left the hotel, left all the lights and noise of the tourist area behind me, and I went out alone into the night. I walked and walked until I came to a quiet spot in a kind of courtyard that was overgrown with trees and bushes. The only light came filtering through the trees from the half moon of a cloudless sky. I was just settling in when I heard a branch break and I saw a face watching me from the bushes. I tried to just keep playing. Then I saw the bushes move, and slowly, very slowly, two large men came out of the darkness towards me. I kept playing. I could make out that one of the men was carrying something that glinted when the light of the moon caught it, and the other man had something in his hand about the size of a baseball bat. They came over, one on either side of me. Then slowly, very slowly, they sat down. I didn't know what to do. I looked to one side and smiled at the man. And then I looked at the other man and smiled at him. That was one of the men. And that was the other one. This man was playing a broken piece of drain pipe. The other man was hitting on a bottle. And they were smiling. They had come to play. Before long, more people started to come into the clearing. Someone else brought a drum. And another man came who was playing a bass box. Some other people who brought shakers with them. And there was Alphonse with his son. All kinds of people came, some to listen, some to dance, and others to sing. Then I saw something I'd never seen before. A man laid a flat piece of wood on the ground, started to play 2 pieces of bamboo, and everybody gathered around him and started to sing in a circle. I later learned that throughout the Caribbean, especially in Trinidad, there were whole orchestras that were made up of from 40 to 50 people who all played pieces of bamboo like this. They were called tamboo bands. About 50 years ago, they were outlawed. The people of the Caribbean had taken to the streets, protesting oppression and poverty, and the tamboo bands often led to demonstrations. And well, one thing usually led to another. People got hurt. The authorities outlawed them and arrested people who were found carrying them. So the people were forced to find other things to keep their rhythms alive. And they did. All kinds of things. Bottles, wheel rims, garbage cans, oil cans that soon became steel drums. And with that, calypso music began. Beautiful music that centered on songs of social protest. But at the same time, they had their radios tuned to stations that were broadcasting from America, and they heard what everyone else was listening to and loving, good old rock and roll. And they took the electric bass and rhythm guitar and electric pianos and synthesizers, and they put it all together with their own traditional music and rhythms, and they called it soca. And once a year, just before Lent, they have a week-long celebration. It's called Carnival.
Shake your waist. I'd rock you to rock in the carnival. I'd rock you to rock in the carnival. I'd rock you to rock in the
This is a song sung by people in hard times to tell each other that just like the gray goose, they could survive. Well, one Sunday morning, Lord, 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 a preacher went a-hunting. Lord, Lord, Lord. Well, he took along his shotgun. Lord, Lord, Lord. And he went to the big woods. Lord, Lord, Lord. Well, along come a gray goose. Lord, Lord, Lord. So he picked up his shotgun. Well, he bit back the hammer, and he pulled on the trigger, and down came the gray goose. He was 6 weeks of falling, so they stuck him on the wagon, and they took him to the big house. Then my wife and your wife, well, they had a feather picking, and they put him in a pot boil. He was 6 weeks of boiling. Then they stuck him on the table. Well, they put him on the table, but the knife couldn't cut him, and the fork couldn't stick him. So they threw him in the pig pen, but he broke the pig's jawbone. So they took him to the sawmill, but he broke the saw's teeth out. And the last time I seen him, he was flying across the ocean with a long string of gosling, going Hong Kong, Hong Kong, Hong Kong, Hong Kong, Hong Kong, Hong Kong, Lord, Lord.
One day, Nasruddin went to the market. He hung up a sign that read, "Someone has stolen my donkey. Whoever returns it, I'll give them my donkey." His neighbor said, "Nasruddin, why are you doing that?" Nasruddin said, "Don't you know? There are two pleasures in life. One is to find something you've lost, and the other is to give away something that you love."
I'm what you call a percussionist. I love to play drums, but I play a lot of other things too. Shh. I had a great teacher. I still do. The radio. Do you realize that right now there are thousands upon thousands of waves traveling through our bodies? Every wave that this radio can pick up, every station, is inside each one of us. And there are a lot of other waves in here and in us that this radio can't pick up. CB, short waves, police cars, taxis, television waves, satellites, much music. They're all here. And if you have the right equipment, you can pick up any of those waves. The difficult thing is deciding what to tune into. When people asked me as a kid what instrument I played, I told them I played the radio. And I did. Every night, just as long as I could stay awake. But I didn't just listen to one station. I used to travel around a lot. Stormy nights were great. Because the clouds were so low in the sky, I could pick up AM stations from towns and cities that were way down in the States or out in the prairies somewhere. Some played country music, classical, jazz, rock and roll. And on the shortwave, I could get stations from overseas Europe, and parts of South America, and on good nights, North Africa. I heard announcers with different accents or who spoke different languages, and they played music that was very different from what I usually heard. It was great, tuning in to different waves. So I didn't just stick with just the snare drum. I learned how to play a lot of different things.
For this next story, pretend you're holding a little baby. And the story goes like this. There was a mother, and she had a new baby, and she very slowly rocked it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And she sang, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. You know what happened to that baby? What? It grew. It grew and it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew. It grew until it was 2 years old, and it ran all around the house. Pushed over all the bookcases. Tore all the pictures off the walls. And it took its mother's watch and flushed it down the toilet. Sometimes the mother would say, this kid is driving me crazy. But at nighttime, when that 2-year-old was asleep, the mother would open up the door to its room, crawled across the floor, looked up over the side of the bed, and if that 2-year-old kid was really asleep, she would pick it up and rock it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and sing, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. You know what happened to that 2-year-old? It grew. It grew and 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 it grew. It grew until it was 7 years old. And it never wanted to come in for dinner. And when it did come in for dinner, it only ate dessert. And if Grandma was there, it always said bad words at the dinner table. Sometimes the mother would say, this kid is driving me crazy. But at nighttime, when that 7-year-old kid was asleep, the mother would open up the door to its room, crawl across the floor, look up over the side of the bed, and if that 7-year-old boy was really asleep, she would pick him up and rock him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and sing, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. You know what happened to that 7-year-old? It grew. It grew and 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 it grew. It grew until it was a teenager. And it wore strange clothes, and it had strange friends, and it listened to strange music. Sometimes the mother would say, "This kid is driving me crazy." But at nighttime, when that great big teenager was asleep, the mother would open up the door to his room, crawled across the floor, looked up over the side of the bed, and if that great big boy was really asleep, she would pick him up and rock him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and sing, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. Well, that teenager, it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew. It grew until it was a grown-up man, and it left home and moved all the way across town. But sometimes on dark nights, the mother would get into her car and drive across town. When she got to her son's house, if the lights were all out, she'd climb up to his bedroom window, open it up, crawl across the floor, look up over the side of the bed, and if that great big man was really asleep, she would pick him up and rock him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and sing, I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. Well, that mother, she got older and older and older. And one day she called up her son and said, "You better come see me because I'm very old and sick." And the son came to see the mother. And the mother tried to sing the song. She said, "I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always." But she was too old and sick to sing the song. The son walked over to the mother. He picked her up and rocked her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and sang, "I'll love you forever, I'll like you for always, as long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be." And that's the end of that story. A is for album that's filled with our memories.
thee for the beautiful times that we share.
C is the caring we show for each other.
D for the dreams we hold precious and rare.
E, the excitement of living together. And F for the faith in our family ties. G is for giving
that's worth every moment.
H for the harmony filling our lives. Laughing and singing and playing together, cheering the triumph and soothing the sore, sharing the sorrow as well as the pleasure. That's what a family is for. I for ideals that give our lives meaning. J for the journal recording our days.
K for the keepsakes that give us such pleasure.
L is for loving in so many ways.
N
is for many's the magical moment. And N for the nearness we live in each day. O for the openness when we're together. P is the peace for which we all pray. Laughing and singing and playing together, cheering the triumph and soothing the soul, sharing the sorrow as well as the pleasure. That's what a family is for. Q is for questions we all try to answer.
R the respect that we hope to receive.
S for the struggles when things don't go smoothly.
T for the troubles that cause us to grieve.
U for the unity binding us firmly. And V for the values both lasting and strong. W for warmth,
for work,
and for wisdom. X, Y, and Z bring the end to our song.
A long, long, long time ago, in a forest, there was the most beautiful, beautiful bird in the whole world. And when that beautiful bird spread her rainbow wings and sang, there was rain. Everybody loved that bird because she brought the rain. You know, if there's no water, there's no life. They made dances for the bird. They sang songs. They brought her food. They told her story again and again. And that made the beautiful bird happy. She would spread her wings, oh, and sing. And there would be rain. Time passed, and the villages grew bigger. People were busy. So some people did the dances and some people did the songs. Everybody told the story of the bird. That made her so happy. She would spread her beautiful, beautiful wings, sing her song. Oh, there was lots of rain. was wet, everything grew. That's how it was. Time passed. Villages grew bigger and bigger. There were some cities. People were so busy they had so many things to do. So only sometimes did they make the dances and the songs. And after a while they thought, this is not a true story, we'll only tell it to our children. But that was all right. Children know when a story is true. And even if some one person told that story just once, it made the bird happy. She would spread her wings, sing her song. Oh, there would be rain. A long time passed. Oh, a long time. And there were bigger and bigger cities, and people had so many important things to do. Oh, we have no time for dancing and singing. We have to work. Don't tell that story to your children. If you fill their heads with make-believe, they won't grow up just like us. They won't do important things and keep busy all the time. Do you know what happened? After a while, nobody sang her song. Nobody danced. No one told the story of the bird. That most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bird in the whole world. She folded her wings. She didn't sing. And there was no rain. The earth was dry. Oh, that was trouble. Everybody blamed everybody else. It's your fault. You didn't do something right. The people didn't speak to each other. But there was a little boy who liked to look at everything. And one day he went into the forest. He was looking around, and in the trees he saw the most beautiful, beautiful bird in the whole world. Oh, that's so beautiful. He went to his father. He said, Father, I saw such a beautiful bird. Give me a piece of bread for that bird. Leave me alone. We don't have any water. We have no food for ourselves. Why should we give anything to a bird? Oh, please. Just to keep the boy quiet, the father gave him a little piece of bread. He went to the forest. He gave it to the bird. She spread her rainbow wings. She sang. And there was rain. The people were happy because they could go to work the next day. The little boy said, oh, it couldn't have rained because I gave the birds some bread. No. But the next day he went back to the forest. He said to her, thank you. She was so pretty. He went right back to his father. He said, Father, couldn't you just give me another little piece of bread for that bird? Now, my son, we've had some rain. Stop talking about that bird. Oh, please, Father, please give me a piece of bread, please. Just to keep him quiet, he gave him a little piece of bread. The boy ran to the forest and gave it to that beautiful bird. Oh, she spread her wings. A lot of rain. Everybody was so pleased. All the people were talking to each other again. The little boy came among everyone and he said, You know why it's raining? I gave the most beautiful bird in the whole world a piece of bread. Everyone said, don't be ridiculous. That's an old story that you heard. We have important things to do tomorrow. Forget about this bird. Oh, he knew. He knew. If he didn't bring bread to that bird, oh, there'd be no rain. The next day he went to his father. He said, Father, couldn't you just give me another little piece of bread for that bird? The father had had enough. He said, show me that bird. The father took a piece of bread in one hand and a bow and arrow in the other hand, and he followed his son into the forest. Look, Father, she's the most beautiful, beautiful bird in the whole world. He gave her the bread. She spread her rainbow wings. And the man took the bow and arrow, and he shot the bird, and the bird fell to the earth. The father fell to the earth. All the trees in the forest fell to the earth. The little boy ran back to his village, and everyone in his village fell to the earth and was dead. Oh. The little boy went into his house. He looked at everything. And then he took his musical instrument. He took it outside and he sat down on the earth. And he began to play music over and over. And he sang. And then he told the story of the bird again and again and again. He told the story until all the people in the village came back to life. All the trees in the forest came back to life. He ran into the forest. His father came back to life. And the bird, the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bird in the whole world. She flew up to the tree. She spread her rainbow wings. She sang. And there was rain.